Houdini 21 has added a new live video node, and it doesn't like having two of these nodes together connected to the same device. That will cause errors, and even if you get rid of it, it can still pop up as an error. So just a warning. But when you first set up your live video, since you don't have the same camera as I do, or very unlikely, you're going to want to set to whatever camera it is, and then configuration will be like 1920 by 1080 at 60 hertz or whatever. And then you say connect to source, live stream, and then toggle live stream. So let's get rid of that and go down to my live video. And so right now, you're not going to see anything playing over here because I have not toggled live stream on. So now I have live video. And then what I've set up here, usually what I do when I save my file is I obviously turn off live stream and I turn off connect to source. I find it's a lot more stable if you turn that off and save the file. And then when you start up again, reconnect that. And also to prevent the errors from going downstream, I usually set up a switch node here. And this is switch to, usually when I save the file. I make a stash of whatever the live video is and save that out so I can use that to make sure that my code is working downstream even without the live video. But for now, we're going to switch it to the live input, and then we're passing it on here to a black and white background just because we're going to comp over that in a minute. And then down here is the main tool I wanted to show. You need MediaPipe installed in your Python library relative to Houdini so that this will work, otherwise it will not work. It does take a long time to load sometimes, probably not. But let's have a look at inside at how this is set up. So basically this is new to Houdini 21. It's a Python snippet. And there were ways of taking a cop out and taking it up to Python at the SOP level and writing it back out. It was sort of a pain in the ass because of channels, RGBA and stuff, and this is volumes. And so this is much, much easier. So the way this is set up is the binds, when you just type in bind whatever layers and you click on this, it will automatically create these outputs and inputs, however you set them. And then down here, bind parm, it will, when you click on this, automatically add these parameters based on what you set. So for instance, this is a float 3, so you can see here that, well, no, that's landmark color, yeah. So you can see it's created the 3 set up there as a color. And let's hover over this for a second. Yeah, control click rebuilds it. And then usually what I do when I'm changing the code and you know, I don't have expressions set on all these yet, I will go up and say delete all spare parameters and then click on this again and it rebuilds all of this. But right now these are connected up because this is inside of an HDA. So these are expression linked up to this level so that as you adjust these parameters, it will adjust the Python snippet inside of that HDA. And then inside of here, it is running the MediaPipe library and it's finding landmarks for the hands. And then something else that's really cool they've added in Houdini 21 for cops at least is verbs. So I also used it to output geometry. And so you can actually create a lot of cop and SOP nodes virtually inside of this snippet. So if we look at the output here, this is the result, and you can see I've actually tracking my hand. And if we just want to see the overlay, there's the overlay. And we just want to see hand mesh, which is what I was talking about. I'm actually building this this object, geometry object, inside of here. And then outputting it using virtual nodes, SOP nodes, and then exporting that out in this channel here. And then if you want to have a gesture as ID, this will output a single pixel of color if you want to use that to trigger something. I'm not using that here. I'll just put this back to result, and we'll go back up a level here. So let's look at our hand gestures here, and you can see as I open hand here, or read open hand, fist, pointer, etc., it's actually changing the gesture and that I've assigned to each of those by name, and then also changing the gesture ID. And then there's some settings here to change the scale and offset for the geometry. So for example, if you were to look at the hand mesh here and it wasn't lining up in the -1-to-1 space that you wanted within this layer, you could make some adjustments here. I'm sure there's a better way to do it within the code, but this was just a quick experiment. All right, so let's go back to result. And then all I did was just over that. So I have an over here over my background. And then down here what I did was inside of SOP geometry, I just set an expression back to the gesture field for this font. And that gesture field was right here. So it'll just get set to that. So here it says none and then open hand. So this font will read whatever that says. And then I just rasterize that geometry here. And let's see where that is. It's attached to a camera. And then all I do is, because I've got 2 channels here, I didn't feel like matching camera twice. So this is not really an advantage of cable packing here, but it's new, so I thought I'd play with cable packing. So we match camera back to the usual expected location for layers and cops. And then I just did a little light on the geometry for fun using the built-in light node, using normals inside of cops. And then we just over that. So now open hand, finger, piece, rock on, our favorite. I didn't add that one, and then fist. Okay. And then this next little tidbit experimental part was just using fetch, which is great, so I don't have to have lines all over the place. And so this is just getting the same setup here. So this is just getting the result. And then what I did here was I'm just getting the direction. I'm not sure, I kind of left some other code in here, I guess. Anyway, getting the direction and setting the color to be black, or the direction that my pointer is pointing. So if we look at the result here, you can see here that it's changing from green to red as I point in a different direction, which will be useful in a second. So here we rasterize the curves here. You can see that my pointer finger is changing from green to red based on the direction it's pointing. And the reason why we need that is because we're running this into a flow block. So we're taking this file here, and then we're going to flow it. So I'll start with a fist here, and let's just switch this to over. So here's my hand, and then when I first point my finger, it is going to use the direction for flow. So when I go back to fist, nothing will happen because I set an expression to turn that off. And so now I can flow in that direction, and then I'll go up here and flow in that direction. And then I can just like flow all over the place. And then if I want that to stop, down here I can just turn off the sim, and so it stopped simming, turn that back on. And then if I right click on, no, not right click, sorry, if I control click on it, control click, or is it control right click? I always forget, I'm sorry. Oh, control click on that. So if I control click on the little brain down here, then that resets the sim, so we'll put it back to live. So now I can start that all over again.